Hi, Sarah. It's so nice to see you.
Hi, nice to see you.
So how's your week been?
It's pretty good. It's going.
Yeah, it's definitely getting cold, so I like your sweater.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's chilly out.
Yeah, definitely starting to be Christmas time, so as you can see I decorated. I like to decorate early. So last week we talked about, I asked you a bunch of questions. We did like a formal assessment just to get as much information from you as possible about your life, your history, your background, and everything. So thank you for being so
of course.
understanding with that. I know it can be long and annoying. So this week we are going to try and talk about goals and where you see yourself at the very end of our sessions together, and then ways we can reach that goal.
Sure.
So we are going to formalize a contract. And I know when I say contract, it can be kind of scary. This is not a legally binding contract by any means. This is just going to be a thing that you can have and take with you that talks about all of our goals and what we've set up to obtain those. And this is just going to be for you to be able to see what you have to do and make sure you remember what those things are.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So I know that last week we talked about pretty much everything. But I know mainly we talked about the alcohol use and your relationships with your family, and your boyfriend and friends and work and college. And I know that your overall goal for the past couple of weeks has been working on the alcohol abuse. Do you think that that would still be the place where you want to start with?
Yeah, I definitely think by the end of all of this, being sober is probably my main goal. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we can definitely start off with that, having, so Sarah will be sober by the end of 6 months. Cool, that's a really, really good thing to start with.
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Yeah, that's awesome. So at the end of the 6 months, how do you see yourself?
Sober, maybe, rebuilding some of the friendships I've lost.
Okay.
I miss having other people to rely on than just Steve, and so those friendships were definitely really important to me. So maybe doing that, and then maybe going back to school, getting a job, finding stuff to keep me busy. Yeah,
those are definitely a bunch of great things that we can do, and I for sure will think that those will be a great thing to do to help you be sober at the end of 6 months. So those can be steps that we take to do those. So what do you think would be the best first thing to do to obtain your overall goal of being sober?
Maybe like participate in like some type of rehab. I don't know if like going away would be the best fit for me, or like how well I would do with that. But definitely some type of like rehab process.
Okay. Yeah, rehab is definitely can be an essential thing for working on addiction. So there are different types of rehab. There are outpatient rehab and there are inpatient rehabs. And inpatient rehab is where you would go for an extended period of time, a couple months, a month, to a location, and you would stay there the entire time. But there's also outpatient rehab, so that's where you stay at home, but then you go to meetings, you go to the rehab center, you have a person there that you meet with who keeps you accountable.
Yeah,
so
I think that would be the best fit.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah, for sure. We can definitely work on that. So would you say that if you went away to rehab, and you came back to, if you went to rehab for outpatient and then you stayed with your boyfriend, you still lived with him? Because I know you said he's a functioning alcoholic, or he claims he is. Do you think that that would help you be sober?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true. I don't think I would do that well, because when I come home and I see him drinking, it just makes me want to drink so bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well that would work.
So have you ever been able to have a conversation with him about the drinking, or how has that gone?
No, it makes me a little nervous, because like I said, he doesn't really see that he has a problem. And he kind of is the one to like egg me on to keep drinking.
Yeah.
So it's a little nervous.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Do you think maybe working on trying to have a conversation with him would be a good start.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I know you've said that you're a little nervous about that. So we can definitely maybe practice having that conversation and maybe what you would like to
Okay.
say. So I think maybe for our next meeting, so social worker, me, and client, you, will practice conversation with boyfriend. So I know that that can be scary and nervous wracking. So just talking about that and practicing what that would look like would be a really good first step. And then I know you've also acknowledged that there has been abuse in the past and there's been verbal and physical abuse. Has it gotten worse or has it gotten?
I haven't had any instances in a while, so I definitely feel safe where I'm at right now.
Okay, that's really important, that you feel safe and, you know, that you are at the women's shelter here. And so if you ever feel like it does get worse, that the shelter is here 24/7, that you can come if you need a place to stay. You can also if you ever feel like you're in an unsafe situation with him or anybody else, and you need some help, you can always text me or call. And I think it'd be a really good idea for us to put in a safe word or a safe sentence, that if
Yeah.
you say and we hear that, then we know that you're in trouble. So do you think that would be a good step to do that?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so I say we just come up with a safe sentence now. We could do something like the weather or
Yeah, like it's a little windy or something.
okay, yeah. So and I know that you said it's gotten better, so I don't want to presume that it's going to get worse at all. But because of the history and that we know that the alcohol is still in the picture,
Yeah.
we just want to have that there just in case that anything were to happen.
Sure, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that won't be a step because we've already made that. So the first step will be to work on the conversation with that you'll have with Steve. And when do you think you would want to have that conversation with Steve? Do you think we would want
I
to
can
try that in the
Do
next couple
it,
weeks?
yeah, within the next week and let you know how it goes by the next
Okay.
meeting.
Okay. So after the next meeting when we practice within that week, you would
Yeah.
have that conversation. So
Yeah.
at the end of the 2 weeks. Okay. And then you talked about maybe possibly doing an outpatient rehab.
Definitely.
Do you think that would be a really good step? Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say at the next meeting, I can bring you a list of outpatient treatment centers that would be a really good fit for you. And then we can discuss that at the next meeting, and then you can choose the one that you think would be the best fit, and then we can work on starting that. So
Yeah.
maybe starting rehab within
By like the end of the month.
by the end of the month. Yeah. By end of the month. So that'll be in like 3 weeks. 3
Sure.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's beginning of November. We can do that at the end. Have that done by the end. Okay, so I think this is a really good start.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah. So just kind of going back over the contract, just making sure that we're on the same page and everything is obtainable and that. So you've said that your overall goal is to be sober by the end of the 6 months.
Yes.
That's an awesome goal. And you do think that you'll be able to obtain that? You think that's reasonable for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think 6 months is a good time frame.
Okay.
to
And
get me
how
going.
motivated do you think you are to do that? Just right now, and then we can.
Right now I'm like probably at like a 7, but
7?
like, yeah, once I talk to Steve and like get more support, I feel like it'll be a lot
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. So that's a really good number. And so some of the steps that we've talked about is at the next meeting we will go over practicing a conversation with Steve, tell him about your goals and what you want to see from yourself, and kind of seeing that he's on the same page, or if we need to work on that with him, and then so have that practice conversation in the next session, and then having the conversation with Steve by the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then by the next session, I will also bring some outpatient rehab places, and then we'll talk about those. And then by the end of this month, you will start your relationship with the rehab center.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Good. These are some really good steps, and I think that this is a great start to being sober.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. So I will see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.